Bayern Munich lost out on the German league title last season after monopolizing it for over a decade. Xabi Alonso led Bayer Leverkusen to a historic Bundesliga campaign in the 2023-24 season. It was then no surprise when Xabi Alonso was linked heavily to take over the following season. The club has built a notorious image for strengthening their squad at the cost of weakening their rivals. But like a breath of fresh air, it was good to see Xabi Alonso staying at Bayer Leverkusen for at least one more season. So the question now arises, how did Bayern Munich go from Xabi Alonso all the way to Vincent Kompany? Between these two names, Bayern Munich considered a lot of others before settling for Kompany. It was criticised as well as ridiculed, with some fans calling it the most bizarre managerial appointment of the season. You know, like the ones that happen deep into a FIFA career mode. Bayern Munich has found it difficult to attract the highest caliber of managers this time round. The fact that they were willing to renegotiate with Thomas Tuchel to stay on another year before landing on Kompany speaks volumes as well. After Bayern Munich confirmed in February 2024 that Thomas Tuchel would leave at the end of the season, the hunt for a replacement began. Their first choice, Xabi Alonso, quickly made it clear he wasn't moving anywhere from Leverkusen. Julian Nagelsmann extended his contract with Die Mannschaft when Bayern Munich explored that prospect. Ralf Rangnick was given serious consideration due to his philosophy and style of play, but he preferred the international route as well after taking over the Austria job. Hansi Flick was considered, but he then went to the other FCB. Unai Emery, De Zerbi, and Oliver Glasner were also mentioned before Vincent Kompany was taken in a serious light. Reportedly, the hierarchy at Bayern Munich was left impressed after their first meeting. Max Eberl, the sporting director, especially vouched for this appointment. But is Vincent Kompany's appointment really that bad? Again, the answer is no. A lot of criticism has very superficial grounds, most of it coming from those who haven't watched Burnley in the Championship in 2022-23 and are making judgments based on their relegation the very next season. Vincent Kompany led Burnley to a Centurion Championship title in 2022-23. Back in 2022, Burnley was relegated from the Premier League after spending 6 long seasons floating in mid-table obscurity. At the end of Sean Dyche's tutelage in April of 2022, the Burnley hierarchy decided to uproot a decade's worth of the low block and anti-football identity so closely associated with them in favour of fluid attacking football. The appointment of Vincent Kompany after spending a few seasons at Anderlecht was met with a fair few groans. The arrival coincided with Burnley finding themselves in debt, a significant one being the debt repayments owed to MSD Holdings, valued at €65 million. This implied a substantial impact on Kompany's transfer kitty, as well as the need to sell valuable assets to raise money. The departures of Dwight McNeil, Nathan Collins, Nick Pope, and Maxwell Cornet facilitated that. What was expected to be a quiet and transitional season turned into one of Burnley's best campaigns in recent history. One of the most impressive turnarounds under Kompany was the club's identity, which shifted to the opposite end of the Sean Dyche spectrum. Counter-pressing and possession-based football had arrived at Turf Moor, and it was hard to digest that this was Sean Dyche's Burnley less than a year ago. Entertaining football is the quickest way to woo fans in your favour, and Burnley managed to double down with consistent wins as well. Ian Maatsen, Nathan Tella and Muric all proved to be crucial loan signings towards reaching the 101 point mark in the Championship. But after getting promoted, Burnley failed to replace a few key departures. Their relegation was evident from the start, as some would argue that they were set up with a weaker side than their Championship squad the previous season. Fofana's loan arrival in the winter of 2024 proved too late, as his blistering form couldn't dig them out of relegation. After many rejected calls, Bayern Munich have decided on Kompany for a rebuild. A 3-year contract for the Belgian could prove to be a decent gamble for the club. The directors have gone with a data-driven appointment over choosing big names, similar to when Klopp went to Liverpool after getting 7th place with Dortmund. Before getting into his tactical setup, let's look at his approach to man management and squad dynamics. Vincent Kompany was one of the greatest leaders in Premier League history, and that leadership has transitioned into his management impeccably. We can expect Bayern players to be left impressed after they meet with the straightforward manager. A clip from his Anderlecht days in which he sternly gives his players a reality check at half-time is a great insight into his no-nonsense approach. He has performed on the biggest stages during his playing career, and his first-hand experience and psyche will come in handy to get the right ideas across to his team. Another important attribute Kompany brings in is his ability to speak different languages, including English, French, German, Dutch, and a few others too. In a top club with a diverse group of players, fluent communication will be key to getting his ideas across. The puzzle at Bayern Munich, even through Tuchel's reign, that remained unfilled was the expectation of playing attacking and entertaining football. A lot of their Champions League wins were smeared by allegations of boring football and sitting behind the ball after leading. Kompany also fits this piece of the puzzle, as his uncompromising, counter-pressing and entertaining build-up will prove to be a worthy watch. Vincent Kompany is expected to bring about a revolutionary transformation at Bayern Munich. The Bayern hierarchy will also expect him to bring positive changes to the culture of the club too. The lineup on paper might appear in a 4-2-3-1 formation, but this shape will switch to a 3-2-5 when building up in possession. The goalkeeper will be an important cog in the build-up, and this is where we get to see Neuer at his best again. He's the most well-suited player for this role. Harry Kane is adept at fulfilling the responsibilities of a false nine and can drop deeper to overload the center. Against lower blocks, this will shift into a 2-3-5 higher up the field. This setup has already been deployed with the squad and can help tight-space dribblers like Musiala and Sane to thrive. The centre-back pairing will need to be carefully picked in case of impending counters. This structure aids the integration of Davies and Kimmich very well as the fullbacks, as Kimmich is a perfect fit for the inverted role, while Davies can exploit space high up the left side of the field. The first instinct Kompany will likely ingrain into his Bayern squad is immediate counter-pressing upon losing possession. The Gegenpress system has proved to be the most effective way to regain possession and turn it into a goal threat. It requires heavy intensity from the players and the technical ability to keep composure while pressing, making sure not to commit any fouls to take the pressure off. They will play with a high backline, restricting forward runs with a disciplined defensive structure. Another underrated tactical trait Kompany possesses is his ability to transform his team into an asymmetrical shape in response to the opposition's weakness or their focus of plays. He likes to squeeze the opposition up the pitch while creating central overloads. This makes the ball travel to wider areas where turnovers become more probable, or results in a long ball which leads to regaining possession. Vincent Kompany seems to be in sync with the views of directors Max Eberl and Christoph Freund in terms of the requirement for a substantial overhaul. A lot of key players have uncertain futures, including Davies, Goretzka, Gnabry, Kimmich and Coman. The double Premier League signings of João Palhinha from Fulham and Michael Olise from Crystal Palace are a strong addition to Bayern Munich's pool of talent. Neuer in goal requires no further explanations, as he practically revolutionized the sweeper-keeper role. The back four will include Davies at left back, who will push high up the field. His 1v1 dribbling success rate will prove useful in attack. The centre-back pairing will likely be cemented with Kim Min-jae and De Ligt if either of the two don't end up leaving. The signing of Hiroki Ito from Stuttgart will also add to centre-back options. Kimmich on the right can invert into the double pivot role alongside Pavlovic in possession. Stanisic is another option at right back. Pavlovic and Palhinha can provide stability in deep midfield. Pavlovic is an absolutely solid gem for Bayern Munich and will be expected to heavily improve under Kompany's guidance, while Palhinha stays back, complemented by his sharp anticipation and quick interceptions. Although a two-man strike partnership with Kane and Müller might be one for the ages, with Müller being deployed in his Raumdeuter role and Harry Kane the lethal finisher, it is unlikely we'll often see that. Musiala should be comfortable in the 10 role or on the left wing. Michael Olise should be deployed on the right wing, with rumours about Sane's uncertain future. The striker is unsurprisingly going to be Harry Kane, who scored more goals in the Bundesliga than his total appearances in the league in 2023-24. 19-year-old Mathys Tel will also be one to watch out for as Harry Kane's understudy if he doesn't go out on loan. A list of potential incomings reportedly in the works include Xavi Simons on a possible loan deal, Dani Olmo from RB Leipzig, and Bilbao's rising star Nico Williams. These links are unfounded until now, and things will be clearer once players return back to camps and uncertain situations are resolved. The The closest parallel you could make to Kompany at this stage is Mikel Arteta in his first Arsenal season. This implies that sustainable growth is possible, but it might require a fair bit of patience. Kompany's inexperience in terms of the amount of media pressure he'll face soon is a big factor to consider, especially if the initial stage ends up with underwhelming results, which realistically is very much a possibility. The only thing that will be required for his success, but will likely be the reason why he is unable to change things around, is time. The Bayern board in the previous 5 or so years has gone through good managers like Chelsea usually do. Their impatience with Nagelsmann was a surprise, and if they employ a similar outlook to Kompany, the club might have deeper problems than what appears on the surface. Do you think Vincent Kompany can turn around Bayern's fortunes? Xabi versus Kompany will be an interesting watch from a tactical perspective as well as with the stakes involved. Who do you think will come out on top in the Bundesliga next season, Kompany or Xabi? Feel free to also suggest some transfers that will fit well in Kompany's squad too.